Hello friends, in this video I want to start our Economic Survey of India series for Economic Survey of India 2020-21. In this series what we will be doing, every chapter of Economic Survey of India, volume 1 from mains perspective would be covered in around 15 to 20 minutes. Here I would ensure that anything which is relevant in Economic Survey of India should be there in the notes that you have, so that even if you skip reading Economic Survey of India, that should be completely okay. So for those of you who are watching it on YouTube, go to the description. There you'll also be able to find the PDF version of these notes, which will be the notes that you'll be requiring. At the end of this booklet, I've also given you 2 example questions from mains perspective that you can try to write and post it in the comments. I'll ensure that I'm evaluating those answers also. Those are subjective paper answers. Now, why this series? First of all, if you look at the questions which are asked in the mains examination from economy, forget the 2020 mains paper, because Economic Survey of India 2019-20 was no more relevant after COVID-19 crisis. But if you go to previous years, for example, in 2017, there were 8 questions from economy which were asked in mains 2017, and 4 to 5 of them could be done from Economic Survey of India. That is, ESI is that crucial. Like almost 50% of your economy preparation ये हो जाता है, economic comes from Economic Survey of India, and that is why we should never ignore Economic Survey of India, especially from mains perspective. Okay, now second, if you're writing Indian Economic Service exam, you will see that your second paper there would be completely from Economic Survey of India only. So in this series, we'll first finish Economic Survey of India and then we'll move on to budget. These 2 crucial documents we would thoroughly complete. Okay, here we'll be starting with the first chapter. The first chapter of Economic Survey of India is about saving lives and livelihoods amidst a once-in-a-century crisis. So basically, the strategy that India followed to deal with the COVID-19 crisis has been discussed here. There are 2 things that we had to take care of during COVID-19 crisis. One was are we able to protect lives of people? That is, are we able to provide good enough health services? And second key aspect was, are we able to protect livelihood? That is, are we able to ensure that economy is functioning properly or not? So here in this chapter, Economic Survey of India has discussed what has been India's strategy, how successful was it, and why did India choose a particular kind of strategy? What was the need of going for lockdown? It was like some random decision, or was it based on some research data, some analysis? Those aspects. These are some things that we'll be discussing here. In next 10 to 15 minutes, we'll cover all these things in a systematic manner. Okay, so first of all, the crisis. COVID-19 crisis. This in terms of, if we look at in terms of economic crisis, this was a once in a century thing. This kind of negative economic impact has not been seen over the last 100 years. If we look at the number of countries which have been impacted negatively, that is number of countries where per capita income has gone down, more than 90% countries in the world saw a decline in the per capita income. This was higher than even the Great Depression of 1929-1930. Even at that time, in 1929-30, only around 85% of the countries saw a decline in their per capita income. This time, 90% of the countries have seen a decline in their per capita income. So we are saying that it was a once in a 100-year crisis, but in terms of economy, it was a once in a 150-year crisis, because the last time more than 90% of the countries saw a decline in their per capita income happened in 1871. So 1871 to 2020, in 150 years, for the first time, this kind of negative economic impact has happened. But in terms of health crisis, this was a once in a century thing, because the स्पेनिश फ्लू, द स्पेनिश फ्लू थिंग हैड कम अप इन 1919 1920 उस पीरियड में. तो in terms of health impact it was once in a 100-year thing. Now this chapter is starting with a quote, with a Sanskrit quote. This is something that you can use in your answers, this is something that you can use your essays as well, where it says that आपदी प्राण रक्षा ही धर्मस्य प्रथमांकुर. आपदी मतलब jeopardy, प्रॉब्लम, डिजास्टर्स. प्राण रक्षा उसमें किसी का जीवन बचाना, प्राण रक्षा ही धर्मस्य धर्म का सबसे पहला जन्म, अंकुर, अंकुर जन्म, उस पर्सपेक्टिव से आप समझ सकते हो. तो सेविंग अ लाइफ दैट इज इन jeopardy इज द ओरिजिन ऑफ धर्म. दिस इज अ कोट, this is a principle based on which the overall government the overall response of the government has been based on this particular principle. So the Economic Survey of India is starting with this quote. I have added it here. As I was telling you in the beginning, anything which is relevant in Economic Survey of India has been added here, so that even if you do not read it, that would be completely fine. Now coming back to this, we already said that it was a big crisis which has had a lot of negative economic impact, negative health impact. In terms of health impact, you would see that so far by January 15 2021, more than 10 crore people have been impacted, have been found to be COVID positive. Of them 20 lakh have died. Out of 10 crore, 20 lakh, around 2%, 2.2% of the people have died. So the case fatality rate, someone who has been found to be positive and that person dies, case COVID-19 cases mein fatality rate has been around 2%. This also will tell you, like, if 20 lakh people are dying because of this emerged as a major health issue. At the same time, this was the largest economic shock seen over the last 100 years. But this economic shock was unique in a number of ways. Like, we have seen economic shocks over the years. Even after Great Depression, you would see, because of petroleum price hike, there were some economic shock. Because of wars during World War I, World War II, there were some economic shocks. But this economic shock was unique in many different ways. One, it was a health crisis induced global recession. अभी तक जितने भी crisis आए थे, none of them, any of those economic crises was not because of health issues. Second, it was highly synchronized. Highly synchronized means throughout the globe, almost every country is suffering. More than 90% of the countries have seen a decline in their per capita income. And third, but very important, this was the first time where we had to have a trade-off between whether to save life or whether to save livelihood. Because to fight this crisis, to fight the health impacts, to protect lives, we had to shut down everything. But if we are shutting down everything, what is it leading to? It is leading to livelihood getting lost. So for these three reasons, we are saying this particular economic crisis was very unique in nature. It was different from the older crisis. In the older crisis, like let's say the wars wala period, 1914 or 1917 to 21, 1945-46, there we did not have to go for a trade-off between lives and livelihood. It was not like if we are protecting our economy, our people are dying. It was not the case. With improvement in livelihood situation, you would see improvement in the life also, but that was not the case here. Here a conflict occurred. Go for shutdown or not go for shutdown. Okay, now India's policy response. When this dilemma came, whether we have to save lives or whether we have to save livelihood, we went by the principle mentioned in Mahabharata कि धर्म की शुरुआत, beginning of dharma, happens from prana raksha at the time of disaster, at the time of problems. So saving a life that is in jeopardy is the origin of dharma. We went by this principle, that is, we went by saving of lives. But was it only the Mahabharata principle based on which we took the decision of lockdown? Or were there scientific evidence-based backing available? So our decision was not random or was not based on some mythological book. Our decision was based on educated calculations. Our decision were based on studies of previous such pandemic. So what were the key factors on which our decisions were based? First was uncertainty. In March 2019, we were not sure what is the CFR, case fatality rate. Like, if 100 people are getting COVID positive, how many of them are going to die? Because this number was varying a lot. In Italy, this number was 12%, whereas global average was 6%. At the same time, we did not know R naught, reproduction rate. It is basically, if one person gets COVID positive, to how many person this, on an average, this one person will spread the virus. There was lack of clarity on this also. So there was uncertainty about disease. And in uncertain situation, so this is one thing, there was an uncertainty about disease. And in uncertain situation, the suggestion generally is you prepare for the worst. You first take care of the worst thing that may happen. And the worst thing that may have happened was a lot of people getting this disease and a lot of people dying. So this is not something that India did for the first time. This is something which is already known in the research, that if you are uncertain about what's going to happen, you first prepare for the worst possible thing. In case of enormous uncertainty, policies must be designed with the objective of minimizing large losses by selecting the policy that would be optimal under the worst case scenario. We went for lockdown because we wanted to prevent the worst case scenario, where a lot of people are dying. So it's not only, though the principle of Mahabharata is there, but it's not only the principle of Mahabharata, it's a lot of uncertainty, which also decided that we have to go for this. Second, higher transmission potential in dense areas. COVID-19 or any infectious disease would spread more in densely populated areas, in places where there's a lot of population. India is a country which is very densely populated. India is a country where there are a lot of people living. This was another thing that we knew. Other than this, there was a need of flattening the curve. Epidemiological research says that, let's understand what is flattening the curve. It's like, if we allow the disease to spread uncontrolled, we would see an exponential rise in the number of cases. And the peak cases, like in India, the peak was around 1 lakh cases or so every day in September. And how many people are infected at one time? The peak is reached earlier. If we allow disease to spread quickly or spread without any control. But if we control the disease from the beginning, for example, what we did lockdown. We did social distancing. We shut down our schools, we shut down our colleges, we shut down everything. That all those efforts were efforts towards flattening this curve, not allowing our COVID-19 cases curve to go like this. Flattening it. This is the flattening of the curve. Now, what is the advantage? Why epidemiological research says that you have to go for flattening of the curve? Because, one, see, here in very few days you would have seen a lot of cases. You would not have had time to prepare. But if we flatten the curve, if we reduce the spread of infection, if we flatten the curve, we'll have time to prepare. We'll prepare infrastructure, we'll prepare our testing facilities, we'll prepare more number of beds. Right? So even though same number of people would have got infected, here because people are getting infected in a larger time frame, we would be better prepared. That's one thing. Second, at the time of peak, number of people who are getting infected are much lower, and therefore infrastructure required to take care of them would also be much lower. Think of this. Suppose this number is 10,000, this number is 2,000. Here we would need 2,000 beds, here we would need 10,000 beds. So infrastructure required to take care of the crisis would also be lesser. And all these things will lead to less number of deaths. less number of fatality. So epidemiological research is also saying you go for early steps. You stop or you reduce the flow of spread of disease. You flatten your curve. Right? There are some other advantages. We have mentioned that in your notes, that more time is available to respond to it. A smaller number of infected individuals at peak will ensure that lesser amount of facilities would also be enough, and more people in this way would be able to receive proper health treatment, and thus number of fatalities would be lower. That's why we wanted to flatten the curve also. Then there were learnings from Spanish flu. The Spanish flu incident of 1918, 1919, 1920, when it was spreading, a lot of research has been done of the situation at that time. From that research, we found that one, social distancing policies reduced transmission. So we had to go for social distancing. But more importantly, several research have found that those cities which went for lockdown earlier, they were able to reduce the peak mortality, reduce the magnitude of peak mortality as well as total mortality burden. तो जो जितनी जल्दी लॉकडाउन में गए थे, in US 21 cities were studied based on their beginning of lockdown of Spanish flu period, and there also it was seen that the cities which went for lockdown earlier were able to do well. So India went for lockdown very early when the cases were less than 500 in India. That was not the case in US. Lockdown in US was less stringent and happened much later. At the same time, another study shows that cities which had more intense lockdown, intense means more strict and more longer, they also had reduced their total mortality. Another study from Spanish flu period itself shows that cities in which multiple interventions were taken, lockdown, promoting behavioral changes, washing hands, all those things, that also lowered the peak death rate by 50%. And finally, early and forceful lockdown, which we did in India, would help you economically in long run. If you don't go, like we are saying that government went for lockdown and a lot of people suffered. But studies from the past, studies from Spanish flu period is saying that if you go for early lockdown, forceful lockdown, in immediate terms, you'll face a lot of issues, lot of economic issues. But in long run, this will benefit you. Stronger recovery in economic front in long run is seen. So based on these information, based on this data, we can say that our decision to go for early lockdown was beneficial. It was not like the principle from Mahabharata was one of the key principles based on which the decision was taken, but these were also, we had proper studies based on which we took those decisions. Now, what was the policy response of India? Policy response of India was, let's go for short-term pain, let's lock down everything. It will create some problems in short term, but it will give us benefits in long term. So March 2020 period was very uncertain. There were various predictions. A study had said that by May 2020, India would have 30 crore cases. There were so many different kinds of studies, but even this thing was suggested. We went for a lockdown, and that was based on the same principle: first prepare for the worst possible outcome. And in the financial terms, in finance, this strategy is also called barbell strategy. You know what is barbell? In gym you must be using barbells. So in barbells, what you do is, first you hedge for worst possible outcome, and then with time, step by step, you keep adding more steps. So here we first hedged for worst possible outcome, that is COVID-19 may lead to a lot of deaths. Let us prevent that from happening. And then with opening up of lockdown, we step by step, based on the feedback, based on the situation, we kept on taking steps. This is barbell strategy which we followed. Now we prioritize saving of life. We went for stringent lockdown. This was based on humane principle that while GDP growth will come back, but human lives once lost will not come back. Now, what this lockdown gave us, wahi flattening of the curve. This lockdown allowed us to get more time for necessary medical and paramedical infrastructure development. It allowed us to it gave us more time to prepare for testing mechanism. It gave us more time to put in place our fundamental 5-2 strategy: test, track, trace, treat, and technology. All these things we got more time because of the lockdown. Now, how impactful was India's strategy? Based on this data, based on these studies, we said that we are going for this strategy. But how impactful was that? Was it really effective? So first let us understand, was India's lockdown stringent enough, good enough? So here, Oxford COVID-19 Government Response Tracker, OxCGRT, it is providing a systematic way to track government response to COVID-19 across countries. It's telling you how effectively government responded to COVID-19. And if you look at March-April period, India's score is almost 100. India's response towards COVID-19 was almost as stringent as it could be. You'll see, in case of other countries, this stringentness was not seen. But in case of India, we were, if we look at the top 5 countries in terms of number of cases, we were the most stringent ones from the very from the very March period. India imposed the most stringent lockdown equal to 100 as per this OxCGRT index for around a period of 40 days from late March to early May. March-April period, from March 25 to whole of April and first few days of May, we went for a very stringent lockdown. Now, was this lockdown impactful? Has this lockdown, so based on those studies, based on those data, based on a past thing that we had, we went for this lockdown. But was this lockdown really effective? So here also, Economic Survey of India and the various research paper that Economic Survey of India has referred tells us something. It says that if we go by regression model, then if we had not gone for this strict lockdown, and when we compare the situation to when we are going for this strict lockdown, when we compare these two situations, in these two situations, India has 37.1 lakh less cases. If we had not gone for a strict lockdown, then regression model based on what is your population density, what is the vulnerability of your population, what is the health infrastructure that you have, how much is the chance of the spread of disease. Based on all these things, a regression model predicts that regression model predicted that if we are not going for lockdown, then we would have XYZ number of cases. If we went for lockdown, we had these many cases. Usme the difference is of 37.1 lakh. The same regression model for US says that US has given 62.4 lakh more cases. India has given 37.1 lakh less cases because of our lockdown methodology. In US, this number has been less. This will help you understand this. If you look at difference between estimated, using regression model, we have estimated kitne cases hone chahiye and actual cases. Estimated cases minus actual cases in India is 37.1 lakh, saying that estimation was that of much larger number of cases, but India has effectively ensured that 37.1 lakh less number of cases we have. Whereas in case of US, जो उनका estimated था, उससे कहीं ज्यादा उनके cases आए हैं. Estimated minus actual is minus 62.5 lakh. That is, actual were more than the estimated numbers. Now, these numbers, these figures as such are not important. And that's why you'll see that I have not included all the graph and all the statistics which Economic Survey of India has used. For you, if you will be writing this in mains examination, how impactful was India's lockdown, then you can just say that regression model predicted that India should have had 37.1 lakh more cases if our lockdown was not stringent enough. Or you could say it like this: because of the policies of Government of India, we have 37.1 lakh less cases. Because of the steps which were taken in USA, they have 62.5 lakh more cases. Fine. So here, in if you'll have to write answers, ki how effective India's steps were. First, you'll talk about how many less number of cases and thus lives we saved because of our strict lockdown. Second, we delayed the peak. We delayed the peak to September. In general, most of the countries had reached their peak in 50 days. India reached its peak in almost 6 months, in 170 days. And delaying the peak, flattening the curve, more time to prepare, more time to get infrastructure, less number of cases at the time of peak, all those advantages we had. By September, situation was much better. If the number of cases that we had in September, suppose we have had that, we had that those number of cases in May, it would have been disastrous. It would not have been possible for India to deal with the situation in May. So by delaying, our lockdown methodology, the steps that India took also flattened the curve. And then finally, as the Spanish flu research had shown, study of the Spanish flu situation had shown, if we go for early lockdown and stringent lockdown, in long run you will be benefited. And this is also being seen. According to Economic Survey of India, we are going for V-shaped economic recovery. In the first quarter, we declined by around 24%. Our GDP declined by 24%. Then in second quarter, again there was a decline, but decline was much lesser. In third quarter, the more detailed numbers of third quarter would be coming, but we are going for a V-shaped recovery. That is, we are improving drastically. By the way, I'll divert a bit. Many of you may be feeling that there are lots of criticism. Why is sir only talking about good things? Please understand, this is not a class on COVID-19 government steps and how effective they were. This is a class on Economic Survey of India. I'm just talking about what Economic Survey of India is saying. A lot of people have criticized these things. Raghuram Rajan is saying ki sab gadbad hai. They have used all the data to show that they have done everything right, but that's not the case. But right now we are not getting into that. Right now we are trying to finish our Economic Survey of India and what has been mentioned in Economic Survey of India. What is Economic Survey of India saying? Because when you will have to write your answers, you will have to give arguments based on data which government has provided. So we do not have to be a newspaper editorial writer here. We do not have to be a politically biased towards any political party or anything. Here, when we are preparing for exam, we have to focus on what is government's data saying. Based on that, we'll write the examination. So based on it, we are saying that we are going for we will be experiencing a V-shaped recovery. So we were talking about impact of lockdown. All three things we have delayed. We have reduced the number of cases and thus the number of deaths. We have delayed the peak of curve and thus prepared well. And finally, the economic problems that may have occurred, we have also in long term controlled it a bit by going for early lockdown. This is also something that is shown by the research at the time of Spanish flu, or a research of the time of Spanish flu of the American cities. Those cities which had gone for early lockdown were able to go for a V-shaped recovery, which India may also be going for. Okay, so these were, so far what we have discussed is what did India do immediately, why did India do that, what were the factors responsible for those decisions, and what were its impact. According to Economic Survey of India, like Economic Survey of India will talk about impact in 3 pages and will give you a lot of graphs and all. Please understand, you do not need to go through all those things. Aapke liye impact, what has been the impact of the early lockdown, these 3 things have been the impact: death, flattening of curve, and V-shaped recovery. In long run, economic benefit. Okay, this was about shutdown. Now come to what other steps India took to revive the economy. You must have heard about terms like Atmanirbhar Bharat. Atmanirbhar Bharat 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. We will study about all these things in details, like each and every step which was taken under Atmanirbhar Bharat 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, all those things we'll study. You may have also heard about, like during the early phases of lockdown, government had increased the PDS में जो grains मिलते हैं, amount of that, government had increased the amount of money which were reaching vulnerable people, women, elderly, widows. India had increased the allocation for, government had increased the allocation for MG Narega. All those things you may have studied. Those are the things which we are discussing here. But again, first we will analyze. First we will try to understand why steps in that particular order. So, when steps were taken, why first of all we were focusing on allocating more money for MG Narega or ensuring PDS, and why only in later stages we are talking about structural reforms. Pehle, let us understand this. Now see, when we have gone for lockdown, the lockdown had negatively impacted the economy. It had, one, impacted the supply. Factories were closed, right? Service sector was closed, everything was closed, banks were closed, things were down. So it had impacted the supply. At the same time, because all these things were closed, income of people were affected, employment were affected, so it had also impacted the demand. So both supply side and demand side of India's economy was constrained by the lockdown. Now, generally, when there's a demand side shock, that is when demand is not good enough. When demand is not good enough, what do we do? Government starts spending more money. This is what we do. Government starts spending more money so that more demand would be created. But here, in the initial stages when demand went down drastically, in April, in March, and towards the end of March, would spending more money would have benefited? Would providing a stimulus have benefited the economy? No, because supply was not there. Here we had shock from both the sides, supply side as well as demand side. Therefore, the policy, the fiscal policy response that we had, like government kitna paisa spend karega to revive the economy, kahan pe karega to revive the economy, there we went step by step. In the first 2 quarters, April, May, June, July, August, September, 2 quarters, our focus was ensuring that funds are available for essential activities. लोगों के पास खाने के लिए पैसा है. There are businesses which may not be, which do not have enough deep pockets, which would suffer, which would close down. Unko enough funds are available. The first 2 quarters were focused on this, and therefore you will see that cushion was provided to poor section of society and business sector. Business sector mein small and marginal enterprise, micro, small and medium enterprises were focused upon. Now, under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, which was announced in May, you will see there was a lot of focus on food security. सबसे important क्या है? सबको खाना मिल पाए. So how was it ensured? By increased allocation in PDS, by direct benefit transfer to widows, pensioners and women, by additional funds for MG Narega, by debt moratorium and liquidity support for businesses. ये business को help करने के लिए, business should not be shut down. Business is not able to pay its loan, उसका NPA हो जाएगा. All those things should not happen. There was a debt moratorium provided, that is, आपने जो लोन लिया है आप उसे फ्यूचर में दे सकते हैं, अभी you do not have to pay their installment and all. And then vulnerable people were provided with more grains, more money, so that essential things they could do. But then towards 3rd quarter, when lockdown was more towards completion, through Atmanirbhar Bharat 2.0 and Atmanirbhar Bharat 3.0, there was more focus on investment and increasing the consumption demand. Here, Economic Survey of India is saying that at a time when you have pressed your brakes very high, leaving the clutch, or it would not have any impact. And therefore, when to spend the money is also important. When to provide the stimulus is also important. In the earlier phase, our focus was more on ensuring essential services. In the later phase, focus came to supporting investment and consumption demand, that is reviving the economy in other ways. Now these were the fiscal steps that Economic Survey of India is talking about. There are also structural reforms. Now please understand one more thing. When economic shock of this scale occurs, then your whole economic system suffers. Like economic system suffers, what I want to say is factories would need investment. The factories may not be able to follow the labor laws which existed in the past. A lot of those, you will also need to go for structural reforms. You change the way those particular sectors used to function. So other than fiscal response, that is how much money government would spend in what sector in at what time, other than fiscal reforms, we also went for a number of structural reforms. Under these structural reforms, under Atmanirbhar Bharat, different areas have been covered. All these things, the next 2-3 pages are about structural reforms only. These tables that you see, these tables I have taken from Economic Survey of India only. I have exactly copy pasted them from Economic Survey of India. Everything is from Economic Survey of India, but I was telling you that notes, the size of notes have increased. I wanted it to be in 4 pages. It has come down to 7-8 pages because of the table that I have included here. Because in preliminary examination, they may also ask you, आत्मनिर्भर भारत के अंदर ये इनिशिएटिव लॉन्च किया गया, what are its advantages, what are its limitations, why was it launched, what is its purpose. So this table is there, but Atmanirbhar Bharat we will cover separately in more detail. We are not going to cover Atmanirbhar Bharat here in this booklet. Okay, here what I want to do is I briefly want to take you through some of the steps that have been taken under Atmanirbhar Bharat to explain you how we are saying that we are going for structural reform. We are going for the change in the basic way a particular sector function. उसके structural reform कर रहे हैं. देखो fiscal reform होता उस sector को ज़्यादा पैसे दे दिए गए. Structural reform होगा we have changed the way that particular sector functions. For example, agriculture bill, the 3 agricultural laws are still an issue. Those 3 agricultural laws have been talked about Economic Survey of India as major reforms which have taken place in agriculture sector. Through these laws, we have provided farmers with more opportunity on where they can sell their products. Rather than just depending on APMC mandis, they could sell their product anywhere they want. So through this, we want to create one India, one market. But again, as you would know, all these 3 acts we will study separately in more detail. We'll look at each provision because in preliminary examination, any of those things could be asked. Here, as part of Economic Survey of India, we are going for a broader analysis. In the same way, here you will see that contract farming may farmers should not be exploited. For that also, Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement of Price Assurance and Farm Services Act 2020 was passed. In the same way, Essential Commodities Act was amended to ensure that businesses are able to procure more, store more. Otherwise, this also, according to government, harms farmers if businesses are not able to store more and do all those things. Okay, in the same way, MSME sector. Number of reforms have been brought for MSME sector. First of all, the definition of MSME sector has changed. For those of you who have studied with me in the past would know that we cover MSME sector in a lot of detail. So earlier, MSME sector was defined on the basis of amount of investment. For example, if you are manufacturing sector, then आपके machinery में and उसमें आपने कितना invest किया है. If your investment is less than XYZ amount, you are a micro enterprise. If your investment is less than ABC amount, you are a medium enterprise, small enterprise, then medium enterprise in this way. But here, what we did, we changed the definition. From the investment definition, we have come to revenue definition. And this threshold has also been increased. So now more number of businesses, enterprises can be called micro, small and medium enterprise. In fact, 99% of all firms now come under the definition of micro, small and medium enterprise. Now what is the advantage of this? Earlier, our MSME sector suffered from what is known as dwarfism. What is dwarfism? Dwarfism is an industry which started 10 years back. Even after 10 years, it has remained small. Like a child who is born, after 10 years, the child should grow. If the child remains small, she or he is suffering from dwarfism. So our MSME sector also suffered from what is known as dwarfism. This was discussed in last year's Economic Survey of India. It suffered from what is dwarfism. Now you would say, why dwarfism? Because if a organization remained MSME, government provided a lot of benefits to them. So that organization did not want to lose that benefit and thus did not want to become big. This affected India's economy negatively. So what government has done now, government has widened the definition. What government has done now, government has widened the definition. By widening the definition, what we mean is now more number of enterprises would be considered MSME. So unless your revenue increased beyond a much larger threshold, you would be considered MSME. So now a small enterprise which was not ready to grow would be growing. And with its growth, economy of scale would be achieved and other advantages would also be achieved, which will benefit India's economy. In the same way, you would also see labor law reforms have taken place. Earlier, there were 47 different central government labor laws. Those have been brought under 4 codes. So earlier you had to go for 47 laws, now 4 codes can replace them. At the same time, number of sections which we had in these 47 laws were 1200. Those have been reduced to 480. Similarly, number of minimum wages, there were 2000 different types of minimum wages. Those have been reduced to 40. Number of registrations required have been reduced to 6. Number of licenses required have been reduced to 4. Further, under Companies Act, if you are a business, like I'm running a business here. If I make a mistake, earlier under Companies Act, that mistake could be considered a criminal offense. In spite of the fact that that could be a genuine mistake because I didn't know that, something like that. Now that has also been decriminalized. A lot of offenses which were earlier criminal offense have been decriminalized. So all these things are being done to ensure that businesses are able to run effectively. At the same time, the workers who are working there are also able to enjoy the benefit. Otherwise, what was happening was people were not hiring full-time employees. They were hiring employees on contract so that they do not have to follow all these norms. So again, these labor laws we will study in greater detail. Each and every of these labor laws will be covering. In the same way, all these sections that we are talking about, business process outsourcing, power sector, PSU sector, mineral sector, industrial sector, जहाँ पे production linked incentives were provided for 10 identified sectors to increase the growth. All these things we would cover separately in greater details. Each and every of these sections will cover separately in greater detail. Here the idea was, at one place you should go and read and see that government has taken a lot of structural reforms also. And therefore, here what we are saying this, that we have utilized the crisis. We were in a crisis and we have made that crisis a beneficial thing. So you will see here, India is reaping the lockdown dividend from the brave preventive measures adopted at the onset of pandemic. At the same time, the policy maturity and alacrity displayed to not waste a crisis. We did not waste a crisis. Because of this crisis, we were able to come up with a number of structural reforms which were pending for many years. Labor laws, the changes in labor laws were pending for 30 years. IMF ने जब हमें help किया था 1991 में, their condition were attached that you would change your labor laws. APMC में reforms were pending for many years. All these things were pending for many years. We have used the crisis as an opportunity because a lot of things shut down, a lot of things were not happening. So now bringing a change was easier. So we have used this crisis as an opportunity to bring those changes. Okay, so this was this particular chapter. What has happened, how has happened. आत्मनिर्भर भारत के अंदर जो जो steps लिए गए हैं, that we will separately cover because in every step we need to get in somewhat more detail because we have seen for preliminary examination we have seen that UPSC is going in more depth. Just reading 3 lines about a particular act would not be enough. We'll look at all the provisions of that particular act. Okay, so this was all about chapter 1. Tomorrow I'll be recording another video on chapter 2. So in this way we'll complete the series. So again, for those of you who are watching it on YouTube, please download the notes from the description which is given there. Further, I've also provided you 2 practice questions. If you get time, try to write its answer and submit it in the comment section of the YouTube only. One of it is discuss the key strategies which India followed to save life and long-term economic growth potential during COVID-19 crisis. What did we do to save lives and long-term economic potential of India? Has these strategies been effective? Give reasons. Yes, they have been effective, लिख के नहीं छोड़ देना, or no, they have not been effective, लिख के नहीं छोड़ देना. Give your reasons, give your arguments. By what data you are showing that we have saved lives? By what data you are saying that we have been able to protect economy? Or by what data you are saying that we have not saved life and our economy, long-term economic potential have been impacted? In the same way, India's approach to tackle COVID-19 crisis was research-driven and humane. The way we tackled COVID-19 crisis was based on research, and it was a humane decision. इन दोनों चीजों को समझाना है, elaborate करना है. तो here you just have to explain that on what grounds did we take these decisions, how the decision was research driven. तो epidemiological research, swine flu नहीं, Spanish flu के basis पे research, या फिर in case of uncertainty what should be done, all these things are research based decision. And humane because we gave more priority to saving lives rather than focusing on GDP in short run. Long term में GDP would also be benefited. So these are the 2 questions. Try to attempt it. I'll continue this series tomorrow with the second chapter of Economic Survey of India. Thank you.